King P here.
And Steelio7.
And welcome to another episode of This Week in Metropolis. In this week's episode, we're talking to incredibly talented impressionist Darren Altman about his career as a voiceover artist and also his experiences on Britain's Got Talent.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to This Week in Metropolis.
Well, first of all, Darren, thank you so much for joining us on our podcast. I know you from Britain's Got Talent, which I'm sure a lot of the viewers and listeners will recognise. When I say recognise your voice, it's quite interesting because obviously you are an impressionist and a voiceover guy. So your voice is quite unique in some respects. But I wanted to say to you, Darren, where did you get started in doing impressions and things like that? But I'm sure just as a youngster, we all kind of do impressions. But how did you get started?
Yeah, it's that old thing, isn't it, of like impersonating your teachers and anyone within 5 feet of me. I've always had a musical ear. I was a drummer and a musician, and that's what I did my degree in, jazz music and drumming. And I would always impersonate, I don't want to give my age away, but like Roger Moore and James Bond. Like if I was getting told off by one of my mum's friends, for being a naughty boy, I might go, "Don't touch that, darling. We don't want you leaving so soon." And that will sort of diffuse the situation. So yeah, I've just always had a good ear, and all the way through school, I'll be the one that gets up at the front, and college, impersonating all my friends. Yeah. And then just sort of transitioned into what I do now. Yeah, quite late in life, actually.
Really? What made you feel that sort of going from using it in a day-to-day sense? What was the turning point in that you thought, wow, I can make a career out of this?
It was quite strange because as I was saying to you previously before we recorded, I was a drummer. That's what I did, and I was a jazz drummer, so I'd play in lots of big bands, and I would play at Ronnie Scott's in the house band. I was recording music for film and TV at Abbey Road, Air Lyndhurst Studios, so doing gigs and tours, and backing all live acts. That's what I did, and then I don't know what compelled me, but I made a very crude voiceover demo. Just off my own back. I think I found some software and made a whole bunch of crude characters and sort of mocked up some adverts. I don't know why. And I sent it off to an agent, and lo and behold, I got my first agent. And quite quickly, I was sent out to studios in London, and I was doing characters for games, and I was doing TV commercials. I was I think the first voice of, Giacomo Men's Clothing.
Yeah.
When that came out, that was years ago. And just, and sort of very quickly learned about the industry, and then had lessons with who's now a very good friend, a lady in LA called Nancy Wolfson, and studied to make sure that I was getting everything right. Because it was one thing having a good ear, but I think I was sort of defaulting to some weird sort of voiceover mode where when I was talking, I going into the back of the throat and thinking, this is what you did if you wanted to be sounded like Alan Partridge. So she very sort of quickly got rid of that, and got me to be my natural self. If I wasn't doing characters, I was just sort of being my natural self, which is what a lot of producers want. They don't want you to necessarily affect a voice.
Do you remember what your very first impression was that you thought, or that people said to you, that is spot on, that is so alike?
Oh God, wow. I mean, it was probably something stupid like Frank Spencer, but everyone went, whoops, Betty, the cat's done a whoopsie and all that, say goodnight to the man in the moon, Jessica, and all that. But I can't really think of doing Prince Charles, and it was probably doing impressions of impressionists, actually. My wife and I, and all that nonsense. But it was only until sort of, I don't know. You get asked to do voices now, and so you and because it's it's what I do. It's a job, and I do stand up as well now, so that I really have to, without wishing to sound sort of arty-farty, but nail the voice, get into the
Yeah.
real essence of the character, and not just be one of these people that does 50 impressions in a minute and goes, you know, Mr. Burns, excellent, Homer Simpson, do, you know, and all that. You have to do it. You have to do it properly, because if you're doing a radio ad or a corporate, and you may have to do a voice for, you know, someone may ask me to do a voice, a whole 2-minute video as David Attenborough. Well, it needs to sound like David Attenborough.
Yeah.
It can't just sound like a generic. And here we see the horse by the, you know, it's got, and now we can observe lion stalking its prey and ripping its guts out. You know, whatever it is.
What sort of research do you do then? What's the process of learning a voice to get it to that standard that you think, yep, I've got it?
Funnily enough, I'm preparing. I'm actually writing a topic for my YouTube channel, dissecting my process. So I'm actually breaking it down, and it's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, sometimes you sort of, you know, I'll be in the shower or walking along, and I just get a voice, but really it's, you know, a lot of composite factors, you know, to know where they're from, so you can nail the accent properly. You know, Peter Kay, Paddy McGuinness, Vernon Kay, they're all from Bolton, so they've got that Bolton accent. You know, their background, where do they come from? I mean, it's not necessary, but you know, their rhythm. How do they speak? Is it sort of staccato, fragmented? Is it more smooth? Do they take pauses? It's the pitch. Is it high? Is it low? Will I have to lower? Where does the voice come from? All the different qualities. I mean, I could, you know, demonstrate, you know, lots of different things, but it's a combination of things. You know, Craig Cash, who does Gogglebox, has got a bit of a rasp in his throat. You know, and in Manchester, the Malones. And if you take that rasp, you know, then you sort of develop into a bit of Cockney, then, you know, so you're not 2 million miles away from Glen Oddle, you know, and them players, as I say, you know, wonderful, wonderful thighs.
It's amazing. And that was one of the things, and I'm sure we can go over into it now, was on Britain's Got Talent, was I loved how when you done your impressions, you explained how you went from one to another. I think you kind of you said, you know, if you lower your voice to this, and then you go into a different kind of. I think you went from Gordon Ramsay to one, and it just kind of, it's almost a little bit. Not saying that it means everyone can do what you do, but it's almost a little bit like a magician showing you how the magic's done.
Yeah, and I mean, I quite enjoy that, you know. And when I do, for example, when I'm on stage, I like to impersonate Joe Brand, and I even say that when you're doing Joe Brand, everything you have to say is in this tune. Da 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 da. So no matter what she says, it goes up like this and then down at the end. So, but you can hear that she's got like a melody, you know. And someone like Josh Whittaker, he likes to take long pauses between his sentences.
Brilliant. Do you find yourself, I imagine if you've got that skill, do you find yourself doing it all the time, even when you're just going about your day normally?
Well, I mean, it's my job, so, you know, I spend all my time talking. I mean, not all of it's fun, you know. I can get asked to do lots of different characters for games and animations and radio ads. I've got to do a whole load of Santa Claus now for an award ceremony and a radio station here in London. But sometimes I'll hear something and it'll just amuse me and it'll just sort of tickle me. You know, I think when I first did Boris Johnson and it was the way that and for some reason when he says two, it's a two so I had quite a lot of fun explaining to two myself. So some things will tickle me, and you know, but some you have to work at, and some they come naturally, and you, depending on where they sort of sit within my throat and my head and my voice. That's weird. You have to manipulate, obviously.
When you do a game or sort of those sort of projects, do they come to you with we want a character who sounds like this, or do you know? Do you have to have reference points in terms of?
Yeah, that's right. You'll get a drawing of it so you can see the
Right.
character, because that might influence you. You know, if they're short, you know, will they have a squat? Will they have like a low voice? Will it be round? Are they tall? Are they lanky? You'll get a character description. This guy's a bully,
Yeah.
but he was bullied as a child, which makes him that way. You know, you'll get this boy's a mummy's boy. He's a bit of a nerd, but he's very sensitive and shy. So you'll get a breakdown, and then you'll get what they call the sides. Now, the sides are the short bits of dialogue to sort of test. They call those the sides. It's an
Sure.
American, I think, but they use it here as well. So you'll get like a character brief, a breakdown. You'll get a photo or a drawing, rather, I should say, so you can piece it together. But even then, you can't say, well, this is the definitive voice. I was listening to a very interesting podcast just yesterday when they were saying, you know, if he's got a long neck, you know, does it mean he will talk up like this because he's got a long neck? I mean, I don't know, you know, but you can try all these things, or, you know, and if you take that voice, which for some reason I did an American accent, and make him sound British, then, you know, you can change the voice but still have that tonal quality. I don't, you know, for example.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
amazing.
you have to work with people.
Do you find with that sort of on a day-to-day basis? Let's say I don't know, you know, exactly what your work's schedule is, but if you're doing in the morning, you're doing Father Christmas, and then in the afternoon you've got to do a high-pitched sort of gaming voice and so on. How do you sort of keep control of that? Like if you've worked on that gaming character on a Wednesday, and then it's not until the following Wednesday that you have to do some more on it, how do you have that memory of those sort of voices as such?
Well, yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, when you and again on this podcast I was listening to yesterday, we're talking about the host Nick, who's a friend of mine, is very into. She's a vocal coach, and she knows the physiology. It talks about larynx and pharynx and all of that, and the anatomy. And she was explaining that when you wake up and your voice is very relaxed, you can probably hear it now, because I woke up, had a cup of coffee, a pint of water, and I've just had a swim, and I've come back, so I haven't really spoken. So, oh, that's nice, you know. So, so you know, this Christmas, you know, if I nuzzle up to the mic like this, I can do a voiceover for some luxury chocolate. But I mean, but by the time I've done, you know, a few hours voicing, I probably couldn't get that sound at 5 o'clock this afternoon, because I've been using my voice. So yeah, and you know, you have a reference. You can obviously listen back to what you did and hear it, and you know, try and match the sound. But generally, once you get a voice and you can sort of feel it in your throat, and you know, if you're giving it a lisp or whatever the qualities you're giving it, you can normally reference that again and get to it. But yeah, it's a good point.
Are there any voices that you really want to be able to do, but have just for some reason not been able to?
There's a whole load of impressionists, some great impressionists, and they do people like Robert De Niro and you know, Al Pacino and a lot of the American guys, and I can't really, you know, I leave all that to them. You know, I sort of know my limitations in that respect. There's no point in me trying to do a Robert De Niro if I can't. Or someone like, you know, Sir Ian McKellen, I could probably try and get close to him, but again, yeah, some are just tricky. So you can try and get close to them, and then, you know, I just say I can give you the number of someone who can do it.
But I guess, like you said before, there's no point trying to do something if it's not, if you're not hearing it and it's kind of near enough perfect, that, like you're saying, it could then, I guess,
I mean,
be detrimental to you, I guess.
I was on there's a podcast called Making an Impression, and it interviews all impressionists, and Rory Bremner's been on, and Alistair McGowan. I was interviewed, and a load of great impressionists. And it's interesting because what the interviewer Simon got us all to do at the end of our episode is to all do, I think it was a Morgan Freeman. Now, what's interesting is that you would all identify us all as being Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Someone would be absolutely nailed, and some would be near as damn it, and some wouldn't be. Now, I do Morgan Freeman in my act, when I'm doing stand-up. I don't think it's all that good, But I've had people come up to me and go, "Oh my God, your Morgan Freeman is incredible. How do you get that?" Now, to me, it's a sort of 4 out of 10, 5 at best. It's not all that, but so it's perception. You know, other people, when I do Gordon Ramsay, they go, "Oh my God, that's amazing. You're Gordon, you've got absolutely everything there. You've nailed it." And other people, you know, you get all the trolls going, "It doesn't sound a bit like him." So what can you do? You know, you can't be upset by it. You just do the best job you can.
Your Gordon Ramsay for me was brilliant because, and this was another question I had, because you don't just do his voice, it's his body movements. It's an all-round impression, and I think we've seen that before on talent shows and in stand-up, where people will do an impression and it's just the voice, and you can recognise it. But there's something about when you do a physical impression as well, and I think you hit that now on the head with him.
Well, this goes back to what you were saying about, you know, when you're breaking a voice down, and one of the aspects, you know, as well as sort of pitch and timing and intonation, and you've got to get the physicality. Gordon is always on the move. He's nervous. He wants everything yesterday. So you can't do Gordon Ramsay without, you know, big boy. Oh, come on. Okay. And being very animated and accenting certain words which don't make sense. A big boy. Wow. Beautiful. Yes. You know, so, and if I was to do that without doing all the gestures I just made, then it would be like him, but you wouldn't get that energy. And it's all, you know, you've got to get that energy. Wow. Yes. Beautiful.
And does that help? Is it a two-way thing that, you know, you're doing the physical element to deliver that performance, but also it's getting you into the headspace of that character?
Exactly. If you weren't here and you gave me a script and it said Gordon Ramsay at the top, I'd be doing all that, whether I were you on the line or not, because it comes across. Yes, you know, and the bouncing up and down on your feet. Hey, big boy, young man, oi.
Are there trends in terms of the voices that you feel as a voiceover artist or an impersonator that you need in your sort of back pocket? Are there certain people that come up and they come to the public consciousness that are so iconic you think I need to know that particular one?
That's a very good question. I mean, yeah, there are definite trends. I mean, just stick on, you know, Sky Sports or BT Sport, and you've got these sort of really great northern. There's people like Dan Lee, John Rand, who you wouldn't know, but you'd know their voice instantly because they do all the promos for BT Sport. Great voices, like northern, sort of gritty. There's one guy, Craig Kelly. I think he used to be in Coronation Street, and he's got that sort of raspy Lancashire voice. He sort of talks like, you know, that sort of BT Sport, you know, it's really down there, you know. I mean, I'm sort of mocking it up now, but you know, but they've just got great voices, and you know, you have to be. I mean, I wouldn't emulate them. And of course, someone like Peter Dixon, SCS, your So Money Supermarket. You know, he's everywhere, you know.
Yeah. So you get
time.
I take it then you get a lot of demand for, we want you to do a voiceover and you need to sound like Peter Dixon. And that's the reference point.
You do, but you have to be careful because Peter Dixon is Peter Dixon. So,
yeah, that's it. I'm sure he does well out of voiceovers as well. Yeah.
I think he does okay. Yeah, I mean, you can tell by his mansion. So he does. Peter Dixon's a sort of iconic voice. So, I mean, depending on where it's going, if no one's hearing it, then I might, you know, if it's going somewhere where it's not going to be in the public domain, then maybe I'll do an impression of him. But if it's going to be on a video or a corporate, then I will say to the client, listen, what we'll do is we'll get near as damn it. We'll do like a big voice of God like that, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But as soon as you start doing the growl, it's that, you know, it's that at the end, which sort of gives, that's his shtick, you know. You know, you meet him and he's a lovely, well-spoken man, you know. He doesn't talk. Darren, delighted to meet you. I'm as excited as the double discount sale at SES.
that was going to be my question. Is he, you know, in conversation exactly like that?
Darren, I would like a large gin and tonic. Fever Tree tonic.
Being someone who's recognised for the impressions that you do and the voiceovers, is there ever a time that you want to be recognised just as your
I
own,
just want to be recognised.
Yeah.
as Darren Altman, as your natural voice?
Do you know what was funny? This is no word of a lie, about a month or two ago, I was in my local Sainsbury's, I think with Callie, my eldest, and we were shopping, in the bread aisle, getting whatever, and a guy, I could see him looking at me, and I thought, oh, here we go. And so, I carried on shopping, and he turned to me and he went, "It's the I Am's cat." So, obviously he's watched Britain's Got Talent, but isn't it funny that he didn't say, "You're the impressionist from Britain's Got Talent"? He said, "It's the I Am's cat," because I did a radio ad after Leslie Phillips, and did that. But I just thought that was funny. That's happened before, actually. People have said, "Oh, it's the I Am's cat."
It's funny how that is what sticks in the mind, isn't it? Reference to it.
Did you had obviously a career as a voiceover artist prior to Britain's Got Talent? What was the motivation to go on the show? And as a follow up to that, do you feel it gave you, as an experience, was it good, and did it give you an extra platform afterwards?
So I'll let you into a secret. You can audition for Britain's Got Talent, or they have researchers finding talent. So you can queue up and or audition, or they headhunt, and Britain's Got Talent love impressionists. And I got a call the year before I did it. I got a call saying they'd seen I put a very crude video online, like how to do impressions, and they'd seen that video, and they said, "Would you like to do it?" And I said, "No, thank you." And I turned it down because I just thought the jeopardy of me being a voiceover and bombing on there wouldn't be very clever.
Yeah.
And then they came back the year afterwards and said, we've seen your video, would you like to do it? And for some reason, I just said, "Oh, go on, do it." So I that act that you saw was sort of loosely based on that video that I did, about deconstructing voices. And previous to that, I had no experience of stand-up. Like, a lot of the comedians on there, a lot of the magicians, a lot of the performers have been gigging for like 10 years. They'll put a backstory saying, "Oh, I'm a chef, or I'm a fitness trainer," or whatever. They're not. Trust me, they're not. They've been performing for 10 years. It's the backstory that they're interested in. At the end of the day, it's a TV show. I'm being crude. They're making a TV show, so so I had to go out and do a few gigs, and I don't think I've ever been so nervous in all my life. And by the time I'd got onto Britain's Got Talent, I had a few under my belt, not a lot, just a handful of gigs. And then what I did was, after that, I then got a manager, and he asked me, he's a comedy agent, and he said, "Well, what do you want from this?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to capitalize on the success, what's just happened." And he said, "Well, you need to learn stand-up, you need to build a following." So I've been reverse engineering it, and since then been going out and gigging, and even now, I don't consider myself a seasoned professional by any long chalk, and learning how to perform and doing stand-up, because previous to doing that, I had zero experience.
How do you integrate the two? Do you start stand up first and routine first, and then think, how can I add voices to it? Or do you think, well, I've got this repertoire, how do I put that into a story?
Yeah. Wow. How do I do it? I'm not. I do work with writers. Like I have got.
Sure.
I have been working with one writer and then another one, and I'll get an idea for something. Like I'm a Celebrity, Anton Deck, and then maybe Boris will be in the jungle. I'm trying to expand that. To get a few other characters in the jungle, because that season, touch wood, will run and run. I'm thinking of putting Greg Wallace in there, and everyone's moaning about everything. Go, "Oh, I mean the rice and that. Oh, the rice and beans. You get the snap of that rice. I mean, that is heaven. Oh, wonderful. And them beans, I'll think of something. But the other thing is, it's because it's comedy and I'm on stage. You don't want. It's not enough to have someone go, "Oh, well, that sounds like Greg Wallace or Boris Johnson." Well done. Fundamentally, you got to make people laugh, so you've got to have good material. So that's the thing for me, is to try and write stuff which is genuinely funny, apart from just doing voices.
Do you find it changes because we discussed a moment ago, like a lot of the impressions are quite a physical thing to do. Is it something that you're more conscious of when you're on stage? And I don't mean more conscious of delivering that performance. It's more of in the comfort of your own room as you are now, you can go wild in terms of getting that voice exactly right and pulling faces and that, when you've got a room of people staring at you.
Well, again, without wishing to sound arty-farty or pretentious in any way, if you're doing Ant and Dec, you've got to, I can't believe it, you've got to become them, because it's not enough to do the voice. So, if I was to do Declan Donnelly, that's right, I'd be gesturing as if I was talking to members of the crew, laughing out loud, and doing all this, and you've got to. Otherwise it's not him, so you can't really be self-conscious, and to be honest, it can only add to the performance. You've got to, and I'm just trying to think of other examples.
And I guess you're not, it probably helps into where you said you was very nervous before. It probably helps that you're assuming someone else's identity, isn't it? It's not Darren, it's and as such.
Someone like Michael McIntyre, who's very, very physical, it sort of helps if you're running around the stage. I mean, certainly if you can sort of pick up on certain idiosyncrasies, then it's just going to add to the impression,
Definitely. How is obviously the situation that we're going through in the country, although fingers crossed it looks like it's coming out the other end of the tunnel now, but how has that affected you over the past 8 months?
I'm very lucky because I'm talking to you from my studio, so this is where I work. I get up, I do my exercise. I'll either swim or go for a run or a walk, and I come back here and then I work from home unless I get called to go out to a studio and do some presenting or do some voicing in town. But technology as it is, I can connect to studios all over the world. They can dial in and direct me. And apart from radio ads and a lot of the advertising obviously really, really suffered, and the work did go down, but touch wood, if you think about everything that we do as voiceovers, radio ads, TV ads, corporate videos, web videos, voice of God for award shows, I've been doing lots of hosting award ceremonies here, virtually performing, with big, quite high-end production, like when they're cutting to me and they've got all the awards and graphics and everything. So it's been on hold messaging.
From over the years, what are your favourite and least favourite impressions that you've done?
What are the favourites? Wow, I don't know if I've got any favourites. I do a lot of David Attenborough and Boris at the moment. I've got Boris coming out my ears, which is fine. It's good, and it's you can get into the character. David Attenborough, as I've said, car dealerships. They, if it's a car dealership, they may want me to sound like Mr. Clarkson, the old JC. One thing I don't appreciate is those that stay in the middle lane doing 55 miles an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. It depends really. Depends what I'm asked to do. It's quite nice sometimes when I'll get someone will ask, "Can you do this voice?" And it won't be in my repertoire, but I'll do it and do a very good job. I think someone wanted me to do Peter Alice for a golfing store or something, and that was quite satisfying. There she goes. You can nestle up to the microphone, and what a wonderful shot that is, and that'll just trickle in for bar.
Amazing.
So good.
You go so gently bent. Oh, never up, never ends. That's quite a satisfying one. I could happily talk like this all day.
What are your aspirations? Because you've said that you're very successful at what you're doing and moving in stand up. Is there any things that are on your radar that you think I really want to?
Just to sort of better myself, really. Carry on doing what I'm doing. If I get quiet days or days that I don't get any jobs, I worry. I'm a great big worrier. I stay here, I stew, and you talk to all your colleagues and friends. We're quite a nice, friendly bunch, and a lot of people are in the same boat, especially now.
Yeah.
So so just to sort of carry on doing, and just to get better myself, get better gigs, I suppose, more high-profile gigs. I've done some nice stuff. I've narrated series, for Channel 5 and the Discovery Channel and the History Channel, and maybe do more of that. Maybe do some TV stuff. I'm very lucky that I've got a great manager at the moment, and he's always keeping his ear to the ground on what's happening. So just to carry on working, being successful, and see what happens. The weird thing about this job is that I've got a few bits and pieces to do today, some voicing for, like I said, some what they call Voice of God for an awards ceremony. So I think I've got to do like a big, ladies and gentlemen, one of them. And I think they want us Father Christmas, and I've got some of that. But the phone could ring or an email could land, and you just never know what it is. It could be something for America or Australia. You just don't know. And that's what's exciting, that things can change literally within an email. So in that respect, we're very lucky in what we do. It's not all of it is creative. I mean, I know we've had fun today, doing all the silly voices and stuff like that. But if you've got an hours-long corporate session when you're talking about, safety on oil rigs, or the B Court 316X spring valve. I mean, no word of a lie. I narrated a video on that. Goes in one ear, out the other. But you've got to make it sound enthusiastic and like you're knowledgeable on the subject, and all about the spring valve and what it does and its relationship to the flux thermometer. I don't know.
Words.
Yeah, words.
Just words.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, Darren. We've really appreciated you taking the time out to join us and talk about your experiences as a impressionist in voiceover.
Thank you very much. Well, I hope it wasn't waffling too much. It was good fun. Thank you.
Not all. And if you can tell, just for the listeners and viewers, where to find you, and when they can sort of check out your YouTube channels and so on. Yeah,
so you can find me on YouTube, Darren Altman, Altman. I think on Twitter, I'm at Darren Altman. Instagram, I'm Darren_Altman. I'm even on TikTok. We went into the studio and did a deep fake Donald, the deep fake technology?
Yeah.
We did a Donald Trump, a couple of videos, and we had him doing all this ASMR nonsense.
I watched one of them. It was brilliant.
Oh, did you? And we were talking about Sleepy Joe losing his marbles. I got all my marbles. I'm a very smart guy. And, these are not your ballot papers. Scratching the microphone.
It's amazing.
And we did all that, China. And I'm not joking. It's got, at the last look, nearly 2.5 million views on TikTok. And on my channel, because the production company that I did it with put it on theirs, but on my channel alone, they've got more. It's getting on for 100,000 views in a few weeks, and I've only got that handful of subscribers. It's all this ASMR nonsense. People love it. Absolutely love it. So
very strange.
I know.
I can't imagine Donald Trump being relaxing either. Unsettling maybe, but
well, yeah, quite. But that was fun. So I'm even on TikTok, and the good thing about TikTok, it's only a minute, so I can just bust out a few. Like I just did a load of Simpsons impressions, and that was good fun. No, you may not take that comic. That is a limited edition 113. Worst day ever. And and the Lord said, and all of that.
Brilliant.
Homer, let me out the garage. That's okay, Bart. You tried and you failed. The moral is, never try.
Brilliant. Well, we will add all the links to your channels, Darren, at in the description. But once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us on.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Don't forget, if you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe on whatever platform you're watching and listening on, because in that way you won't miss out on any future episodes we put out.
Yeah, and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms as well. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Give us a follow, and you'll be able to keep up to date with all of the latest episodes and posts that we put out there. But thank you for listening and watching.
And we'll see you next episode.